जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन बल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दना ब्रजजनरञ्जना यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा कालाचंजी राधे जय राधा कालाचंजी राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jayo Jayo Shri Caitanya, Jayo Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. जय श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की, कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की, शील प्रभुपाद की। हरे कृष्णा। I sang it different tune, not by not like to bring a variation because I forgot the one that I usually chant. Okay, so we are doing Madhya. We are in between a purport, which is more like a story of Madhvacharya, and we will quickly finish that because there is something more interesting to me than stories. That's philosophy. So, I mean, everything is wonderful in Krishna's, but we all have our own inclinations. So, do my Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, our dear Srila Prabhupada, and all the Guru Vargas, may I speak few words in the glorification of our dear Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and for my very own purification. Vancha kalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhu bevacha patita nam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Kathanchana smite asmin dushkaram sukaram bhaved vishmite vipritam syat Shri Chaitanya namami tvam. Hare Krishna. This is Madhya 9. This is in between purport 245. First word of this, I mean, you want the purport starting with? Shripad Madhvacharya took his birth. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can start reading, you can find. It says that his disciples, that's where we ended. His disciples, it's a paragraph that we ended. Yeah, that's where. So basically Mahaprabhu is touring South India, and we heard all the places. Some I could pronounce, some I couldn't, but he was going through all the places. And then he was meeting different devotees. Some were Ram Bhaktas, some were Krishna Bhaktas. He converted some Ram Bhaktas, he did not convert some Ram Bhaktas. And then, he was giving mercy to all these different devotees, and he was being very merciful. Today we have, now this is a story, the story of Madhvacharya came because we are hearing about the Vigraha, the deity of Krishna, and this was given by, it was installed by Madhvacharya, and whom Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is taking a darshan, right? So when taking a darshan, Srila Prabhupada is also giving us the, I mean, of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving us the history. And but then Prabhupada is elaborating on the points how the deity came and the stories of the different stories of Madhvacharya. That's where we are. I will not read the entire purport because it also speaks about the lineage, which you can read at your own comfort. And we will go ahead with the more deeper purport. I mean, different purports of Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Often in the this is another story. Often in the province of Ganga Pradesh, there were fights between Hindus and Muslims. The Hindus were on one bank of the river and the Muslims on the other. Due to the community tension, no boat was available for crossing the river. The Muslim soldiers were always stopping passengers on the other side, but Madhvacharya did not care for these passengers on the other side. But Madhvacharya didn't care for these soldiers. He crossed the river anyway. And when he met the soldiers on the other side, he was brought before the king. The Muslim king was so pleased with him that he wanted to give him a kingdom and some money, but Madhvacharya refused. While walking on the road, he was attacked by some dacoits, but by his bodily strength, he killed them all. When his companion Satya Tirtha was attacked by a tiger, Madhvacharya separated them by virtue of his great strength. When he met Vyasadeva, he received from him the Chaligram Shila known as Ashtamurti. After these, he summarized the Mahabharata. We have heard the last time also he met. So basically he met twice. Vyasadeva, this is the second time he is meeting Vyasadeva, and before this also he met, and he met in the greater Himalayas. We described that the Himalayas that we see now is not the same Himalaya. This, how Pandavas went to Himalaya is not the same Himalaya. It is a different, that's why if, geography you used to read that higher Himalayas, higher mountains, because this is not the same that we can see with our subtle eyes. This is, you cannot go there by your just mere, like, Prabhupada talk about the moon, that you cannot go to a moon is a Swarga Loka partially. So you cannot go there just mere virtue, like, take a, Prabhupada use the word Sputnik. You take a, spacecraft and you just go there. That's not how you go there. You need to perform austerities to go to a certain place. You can go to hell otherwise, but I'm talking about if you want to go to the heavenly planets and things like that. So even if it is on a, if you read the 5th canto, it explains so elaborately the Varshas and the Khandas, and in there you will see right above the Himalaya, the one that you can see is the greater Himalaya, not the higher, the greater Himalayas. And there where Vyasadeva is and was and still is, like Hanumanji, those who are called Chiranjivis, that's where they reside. Naranara and Rishis, that's where they're doing their austerities. So that's where he went, Madhvacharya. And you need the verse number? You got it? You need the verse number? Okay. It's 245 purport. So that's where he went and met, and then eventually he composed Mahabharata. Madhvacharya's devotion to the Lord and his erudite scholarship became known throughout India. Consequently, the owner of the Sringeri Mutt, established by Shankaracharya, became a little perturbed. At that time, the followers of Shankaracharya were afraid of Madhvacharya rising power, and they began to tease Madhvacharya's disciples in many ways. There was even an attempt to prove that the disciplic succession of Madhvacharya was not in line with Vedic principles. A person named Pundrika Puri, he is in our, of course we come in the eventual lineage, so that's why I guess Prabhupada is elaborating on his story so much. Where was a person named Pundarika Puri, a follower of Mayavad philosophy of Shankaracharya, came before Madhvacharya to discuss the Shastras. It is said that all of Madhvacharya's books were taken away, but later they were found with the help of King Jayasimha, ruler of Kumla. In discussion, Pundarika Puri was defeated by Madhvacharya, a great personality named Trivikramacharya, who was a resident of Vishnu Mangala became Madhvacharya's disciple, and his son later became Narayanacharya, the composer of Sri Madhva Vijaya. After the death of Trivikramacharya, the younger brother of Narayanacharya took sannyas and later became known as Vishnu Tirtha. It was reputed that there was no limit to the bodily strength of Purnapragya Madhvacharya. There was a person named Kadanjari, who was famed for possessing the strength of 30 men. Madhvacharya placed his big toe of his foot upon the ground and asked the men to separate it from the ground, but the great strong man couldn't do so, even after great effort. Srila Madhvacharya passed from this material world at the age of 80 while writing a commentary on the Aitreya Upanishad. For further information about Madhvacharya, one should read Madhva Vijaya by Narayanacharya. So there is a list of, I'll read the people in the lineage, and then we go to the last paragraph. Today in the Udupi monastery, there are another 14 Madhva Tirtha sannyasis. As stated, Udupi is situated beside the sea in South Kannada, about 36 miles north of Mangalore. Most of the information in this purport is available from the South Kannada Manual and the Bombay Gazette. Okay. Next one. 246. Nartako Gopal dekhi paro mohone. You want to recite? 246. Madhya 9, 246. নর্তক গোপাল দেখি পরম মোহনে মধ্যাচার্য স্বপ্ন দিয়া আইলা তার স্থানে. Please recite. নর্তক গোপাল দেখে পরম মোহনে মধ্যাচার্যে স্বপ্ন দিয়া আইলা তার স্থানে. নর্তক গোপাল দেখে পরম মোহনে মাধ্বাচার্যে স্বপ্ন দিয়া আইলা তার স্থানে. নর্তক গোপাল দেখে পরম মোহনে মধ্যাচার্যে স্বপ্ন দিয়া আইলা তার স্থানে. নর্তক গোপাল দেখে পরম মোহনে মধ্যাচার্যে স্বপ্ন দিলা আইলা তার স্থানে. নর্তক গোপাল দেখে পরম মোহনে মধ্যাচার্য স্বপ্ন দিয়া আইলা তার স্থানে. Get into the translation by Srila Prabhupada ki. While at the Udupi monastery, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw Nartaka Gopal, dancing Gopal, a most beautiful deity. This deity appeared to Madhvacharya in a dream. So this deity came in a dream, and Prabhupada will recite some more about, talk some more about it. So I'll go on reciting by myself. Gopi chandan tole achilo dingi ডিঙ্গাতে মাধ্বাচার্য সেই কৃষ্ণ পাইলা কোনো মতে. Madhvacharya had somehow or other acquired the deity of Krishna from a heap of gopi chandan that had been transported in a boat. So there was we have heard that, this boat was stuck, and these people came and asked for Madhvacharya, because Madhvacharya is partial incarnation also of Vayudev. And he did some direction, even he didn't even get up, he just did something and it got released, the boat. And then they said that we want to reward you with something. And he asked, where are you coming from? He realized, and they gave him, Gopi Chandan. And that Gopi Chandan, the hip of Gopi Chandan, it had this deity that Madhvacharya found it. I get confused between Madhavendra Puri and Madhvacharya. So that's how the deity is, and that's the darshan that Udupi temple has, and that's Mahaprabhu is taking the darshan of in this history. Madhvacharyo ani tare korila sthapano adyabodhi seva kore tattvavadi gano. Madhvacharya brought his dancing Gopal deity to Udupi and installed him in the temple. To date, the followers of Madhvacharya, known as Tattvavadis, worship this deity. Tattvavadis means one who knows the philosophy. So everybody who knows philosophy are called Tattvavadis. Tattva means philosophy, Vadi means one who follows or knower. I insisted a little bit on that word because Mahaprabhu is going to talk about it, and we will hear a little bit about it, like what's our tattva and what is their tattva. So there will be a discussion on that. 249. Krishna Murti dekhi Prabhu Maha Shukha pailo prema beshe bohu khano nitto gito koilo. One thing that, again and again and again we see whether it's a pure devotee of, follower of Mahaprabhu or Mahaprabhu himself, whenever they are in face to face with the deity, what is their mood? Because we are also every day practically being face to face with Kalachandji. And we can also think, is our mood similar to what we are hearing from Chaitanya Charitamrta? Chaitanya Charitamrta is all about practical application. There's so much instruction that we can practically apply in our life. So what is the verse says that, Krishna Murti, Vigraha, Krishna, excuse me, Murti Prabhu Maha Shukhe Pailo. So he started seeing, taking the darshan of Krishna Murti with Mahashuk, like, how we get Mahashuk having prasadam. Mahaprabhu was having Mahasuk, having darshan of the deity. Mahasuk is the utmost pleasure or happiness or ecstasy. Prema Veshe, he is now in prema. He is completely covered with prema. Bohukshan, for a long time. Nitya Gita Koilo, he danced and he sang. Prabhupada's translation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received great pleasure in seeing this beautiful form of Gopal for a long time. He danced and chanted in ecstatic love. Tattvavadi gano prabhu ke mayavadi jnane prathamo darsano prabhu ke na koilo sambhashane. So first when they saw Mahaprabhu, they thought, okay, he's Mayavadi, so didn't give him much. In Hindi they say bhav, so didn't give him much attention. Prabhupada's translation. When the Tattvavadi Vaishnavas first saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they considered him a Mayavadi sannyasi. Therefore, they did not talk to him. Pache prema besh dekhi hoilo chamatkar Vaishnava gyane bahut korilo satkar. Later, after seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in ecstatic love, they were struck with wonder. That is chamatkar in Hindi, that is otherwise known as magic. Here the word is used as wonder. Then, considering him a Vaishnav, they gave him a nice reception. Vaishnavata Shabar Antore Garbho Gyani Jani Ishato Hashiya Kichu Kohe Gauramani. What a beautiful name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauramani. See, this is coming out of love from the heart of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this is Gauramani. So Gauramani, knowing that, he, and another word that is beautiful here is Ishat. Krishna, Ishat is little. little bit, where is the word to word? Isha, this mildly. Yeah. So you will hear, even when Krishna, when Kunti Maharani was in Srimad Bhagavatam, was glorifying Krishna, you are this, you are that, and everything. He mildly smiled. He doesn't give a demonic smile, a laughter, but he mildly smiled. That's the beauty of, the devotees also have the qualities of the Lord, of the Master. And they also have this gentle behavior. Being too wild is not a sign of a Vaishnava. Not saying to anybody, teaching myself. Being very wild, very outrageous, too upfront or things like that is not a quality of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is mild like the Lord. So the Lord smiled very mildly. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that the Tattvavadis were very proud of their Vaishnavism. He therefore smiled and began to speak to them. So Mahaprabhu is now speaking. And Mahaprabhu has a typical style. First he will say, I don't know anything. And then he will hear what they know. And they will blow their balloon. And Mahaprabhu will take the pin and prick it, and they will deflate the balloon. And then convert this way. If, like heart transformation, I would rather than convert, I will say heart transformation. তা সবাত অন্তরে গর্ব জানি গৌরচন্দ্র তা সবার সঙ্গে গোষ্ঠী করিলা আরম্ভ. Considering them very proud, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his discussion. তত্ত্ববাদী আচার্য সব শাস্ত্রেতে প্রবীণ তারে প্রশ্ন কইল প্রভু হইয়া যেন দিন. See, the word here is jeno din. It's not saying that hoya din, but the word is jeno din, means as if. See the word to word translation, it says as if, means what he is not. Of course he is. Din means here the humble, but here he is saying that I don't know anything, which is not truth, right? He knows everything. He is the creator of everything. But as if, the word is used as if, because he knows and yet he is transcendentally acting that he doesn't know. So, hoya jeno din, as if he doesn't know. The chief acharya of the Tattvavad community was very learned in the revealed scripture. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu humbly questioned him. সাধ্য সাধন আমি না জানি সাধ্য সাধন আমি না জানি ভালো মতে সাধ্য সাধন শ্রেষ্ঠ জানো আমাতে. Sadhya and sadhana. Sadhya is Krishna, sadhana is the process that we do or perform to get that sadhya, who is Krishna. So the process that we do or follow to get Krishna is called sadhya and sadhana. Basically, this is sambandha with whom Krishna and prayoja and abhidaya, the process that we do to get Krishna, the sadhya. Translation: Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't know very well the aim of life and how to achieve it. So we know that that's not true. That's why that word Janodina word came. Please tell me of the best ideal for humanity and how to attain it. This question was also asked by Parikshit Maharaj when it was like 7 days for him. And Parikshit Maharaj asked this question. Of course, Sukadev Goswami gave a different answer. Next one, 256. আচার্য কহে বর্ণাশ্রম ধর্ম কৃষ্ণ সমর্পণ এই হয় কৃষ্ণ ভক্তের শ্রেষ্ঠ সাধন. One more thing, when Mahaprabhu came, they thought he is a Mayavadi, and then realizing that he is Vaishnav, they started discussing. The thing is, I mean, in a way, if you look at them, I mean, what do you talk with Mayavadi? One believes in the form, one does not. So what do you talk? What do you have in common? When you talk to a friend, you have so much to talk. But when you talk to somebody who is a stranger, what do you talk? Like, you don't know, there's nothing common. But here, as soon as they saw he's a Vaishnav, they knew, they have something, they have philosophy to discuss. I mean, the transcendentalists do, that's all. Like, they discuss philosophy and, of course, take prasadam and share hearts. But, to start with. So now, he is telling the Acharya of Madhvacharya disciplic succession, the Acharya current, that time Acharya was saying that Varnashram Dharma and Krishna Samarpan, surrender to Krishna. These two are the only job or duty of whom? Of a Shreshta sadhana. Like these are the ultimate success of your sadhana. We do the sadhana for this purpose, to follow dharmashram and then surrender to Krishna. Translation. And when I heard it, I like, okay, that is perfect. This is what it is. That's what we do. We do our duties and we, surrender to Krishna. We do our, it can be, you can take however you want. Surrendering to Krishna, you can do your duties, right? And I was like, okay, they are giving the answer, right answer at the beginning. There won't be any discussion. So Mahaprabhu will say, bravo, bravo, wonderful, we are friends, and hug and done. But then that didn't happen. Mahaprabhu had something more to say. Of course, a lot to say. The Acharya replied, when the activities of the 4 castes and the 4 ashramas are dedicated to Krishna, they constitute the best means whereby one can attain the highest goal of life. Now, this is almost right. That's what we believe. Whatever, yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, do everything in my name. Give it to me. But then he said this is the ultimate goal of life, and that's where the discussion comes, that this is the highest goal of life. And Mahaprabhu will, give a different definition, purport to that word, to that sentence, that calling what is the highest goal of life. Panchavidha mukti paya vaikunthe gamon sadhu shreshto hoy shastro nirupan. Translation. When one dedicates the duties of Varnashram Dharma to Krishna, he is eligible for 5 kinds of liberation. Thus, he is transferred to the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. This is the highest goal of life and verdict of all revealed scriptures. Basically, if you see what they're preaching is, you do your duty, surrender to Krishna, you do your duty, you do everything for Krishna, and you go back to Godhead, and that's the ultimate aim of life, and this is what you do. Fair enough, good enough to start with. But whether this is the ultimate or not, that is the question. And if you see, the Mayavadis, what do they think? They, of course, it will be explained in the further verses as we are moving, that, you do certain things, like, the material world, Prabhupada explained this verse is also there. I don't remember exactly in the, I did not revisit that concept of apavargya and pavargya, like, you endeavor hard and the foam comes and you get frustrated and etc. and finally moksha. So basically you realize that this material world cannot give you happiness, and you leave everything of this material world, you do everything to get out of the material world and then go and merge in Krishna to be happy forever. And if you see the whole concept, there is a lot of I in it. I am frustrated with the material world. I could not get happiness in this world, so I want to get out of this material world. So that I can be merged into Krishna, so that I can become happy. Where is Krishna in that? Nowhere, right? But that is not our philosophy. And if you see this also, and it says like kind of, and of course Vaishnava philosophy, but because the moment you believe in the form of God is way beyond Mayavad philosophy, but drawing parallels, it's not fully unconditioned is what is coming to conclusion. When you're saying that, do whatever you're doing, why are you doing? So usually whatever activities, why do we study hard? Jashnam, you don't write exams, I guess. Whoever wrote exam, why do we study hard? So there is a goal, and then the endeavor, right? So if the endeavor is going back to Goloka, right? So not Goloka, here it's mentioned Vaikuntha. So we are doing everything. We are doing all the activities to whatever their philosophy I'm discussing, not ours. Doing all the activities, surrendering to Krishna. Why? To Vaikuntha. Okay, let's not say Goloka, Vaikuntha. So if they say, okay, you cannot go to Vaikuntha, means? So you don't do the activities for Krishna. It's, that's how little cloudy it is. 258. No, I will read the translation. 257 translation. When one dedicates the duties of Varnashram Dharma to Krishna, he is eligible for 5 kinds of liberation. Thus, he is transferred to the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. This is highest goal of life and verdict of all revealed scripture. This is a very, very, very deep philosophical aspect of our Gauriya Vaishnavism. So we will take it as slow as possible. So, so whatever I am capable of telling you, I will, and then the eventual speakers will talk about it. So what is it saying? First, we do not believe in 5 kinds of liberation, and strictly opposed to one, that is ekatva, that is becoming, and that verse will be mentioned. I was thinking of that verse, but then Prabhupada mentioned it, and so you can hear that. Ekatva is one, like there are 5 kinds of liberation. One of it is becoming, like, you look like God. One of it is staying close to God, and different other, 2 other, but one of it is you merge into the Lord, which is completely hated by Vaishnavas. It's like, give me hell, but don't give me ekatva. Give me anything, but not ekatva. This is Gauriya philosophy, whatever I have understood. Please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. This is what, you give me anything, but not ekatva. I don't want to merge. And the very reason for that is because there is no service in merging. So Gauriya Vaishnavas, if there is no service, what will they do is the question. So, but then they are talking about 5 kinds of liberation, right? Moving ahead. 258. Prabhu kohe shastre kohe shabanu kirtan Krishna prema sheva folero paramo sadhan. Did I read the complete translation of the previous one? I did? I'll read one more time, okay? So that we don't miss out. When one dedicates the duties of Varnashram Dharma to Krishna, he is eligible for 5 kinds of liberation. Thus, he is transferred to the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. This is the highest goal of life and verdict of all revealed scripture. Okay? So the next one that we read. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying on this, and we will dive a little bit deeper into this purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, according to the verdict of the Shastras, the process of hearing and chanting is the best means to attain loving service to Krishna. See, all this while, Mahaprabhu asked, please talk, I don't know anything. Right? That's what he said. Jani, what is Jani Deen? Jano Deen. You remember? As if he doesn't know. Jano Deen. But then 1 verse, 2 verse, 3rd verse, and Mahaprabhu started speaking on the 4th verse. Mahaprabhu did, at least with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, it was 7 days and nights, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, you are just sitting there and not saying anything. Do you understand or not? And then he started speaking, kind of prodded by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, right? But here Mahaprabhu did not take long. 4th verse, 5th verse, or 4th verse, he started speaking his understanding, which is our understanding. Ideally, it should be. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, according to the verdict of the Shastras, the process of hearing and chanting is the best means to attain loving service to Krishna. We see the word loving service. The words service and then loving. It's a very, very, very crucial word. Prabhupada is such a genius. Yesterday was, the start of Krishna consciousness, incorporation. If you see, yesterday's date is incorporation of when ISKCON was established officially, registered officially in New York. So yesterday was a very, very special day for all of us. So Prabhupada gives such a wonderful, terminology for the word bhakti. It's called loving service. You just don't do service. That is more like, because I want this, so I'm doing service. So it's not just service, and it is not just love, because we see even now, if you go and see in the name of love, what all people were doing. I mean, I was seeing one video yesterday, and this Prabhu was saying, now this is very trending. Bhakti has become it's a trend now. There's so many trend. You wear torn jeans, torn clothes. This is a trend now, wearing, worshipping Krishna. But not from scriptures, not from being instructed by acharyas, but from their mind. I was seeing this person had kept Bal Gopal Diti inside the fridge. Why? Because he is feeling hot. And then somebody had put Bal Gopal Diti in front of the TV and said, oh, Krishna wants to watch Mickey Mouse. And then somebody was giving tea. Everything is there on the net. You can go and see. This is how. And I was hearing one of the interview by Radharaman, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's DT, Radharaman DT. His pujari was saying, I do not support this at all. This is so offensive. To travel, even to, when you go to Vrindavan, you will see, this, unfortunately, the Mataji especially, have the tokri, have a basket and has Bal Gopal deity, and they'll be eating. He particularly mentions that in a train, if you are going to the restroom, you are eating, and with that muchi hand, you are touching your deities. And it is so not acceptable. It is unacceptable completely, and this is not how it should be. That's why Rupa Goswami says, now, without following the scriptures, it is just like utpat. It is not bhakti, it is utpat. You may think it is bhakti and be in the illusion that, oh, all through my life I did bhakti. But who told you whatever you're doing is bhakti? Scripture doesn't say. Scripture calls it, Acharyas calls it utpat. So you cannot call it bhakti. You can call whatever you want. You call the TV stairs. It's up to you. You can call whatever you want. But it is not what you're saying it is. Which one? Utpat word? Rupa Goswami's? Pancharatrik viding mina. That is the verse. Pateva kalpate. The purport. According to Tattvavadis, the best process for achieving the highest goal of life is to execute the duties of 4 varnas and ashramas in this material world, unless one is situated in one of the varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. One cannot manage. Mind you, we are reading what the Tattvavadis, the Madhvacharya followers believe in, okay? So, unless one is situated in one of the varna, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, one cannot manage social affairs properly to attain the ultimate goal. One also has to follow the principles of ashrama, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Going back a little bit to, I did not complete the line, but the sentence, but going back, so basically Madhva, their philosophy is, unless you are in either of this, either Brahman or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra, then you cannot follow the path of Krishna consciousness or achieving the ultimate goal of life. And if you see, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami also I have recently heard, are all Kayastha. I was hearing this Maharaj's class, and this Kayastha is complete, little attractive to me because I also belong to Kayastha. And Maharaj was telling that Kayastha means one who doesn't know the lineage. They don't know where they're coming from, whether they are actually Brahmana or they are Kayastha or they are, Kshatriya or they are either of the 4. If they don't know where they actually coming, their ancestors are from, they call themselves Kayastha. Basically, if you are anything apart from these 4 ashramas, then then you are varnas. Then you are out of the. Sorry, Prabhu, you're saying something? What? Who? Oh, yeah, his temple is, yeah. The mango one who gave the mango to Lord. What was his name? I forgot. Dasya Vauri, no? The one who gave the mango, yeah. I know Dasya Vauri is also outcast. So they basically none of anybody who is not Brahmana, who is not Kshatriya, who is not Vaishya or Shudra, you cannot do bhakti, and this life is gone, that means. This is the philosophy. I'm just saying what's been written here. And also you have to be either brahmacharya or grihastha or in the vanaprastha or sannyas. So very particular. Varnashram is the key. Prabhupada in Canto 1 lectures explain how Ashtanga yogis also. If you see, Gauriya Vaishnavism is very inclusive. We are not excluding anybody for their age, for their caste, for their ashram. No matter what, anybody can do. From 0 to 99, anybody can do bhakti. So that is the difference between our philosophy or philosophical understanding. So to attain the ultimate goal, one also has to follow the principles of the ashrama, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas, since these principles are considered essential for the attainment of the highest goal. So you see how bodily concepts are essential to get the spiritual destination, is what being insisted here. In this way, the Tattvavadis establish that the execution of the principles of Varna and Ashrama for the sake of Krishna is the best way to attain the topmost goal. The Tattvavadis thus establish their principles in terms of human society. Okay? So basically, if you see, I was giving example of our Narottam Das Thakur, he was a Kayastha Bhakti Vinod. Our Acharyas are also, with the, beyond that 4 Varnas. So, like, if you see according to this philosophy, their philosophy, so they won't be qualified. They can't even start what to speak of getting it, but we know what their position is. At least theoretically we know, and we are being told what their, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Narottam Das, they are all Manjaris, the close most associates of, Srimati Radharani. The topmost goal of the service to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani is the topmost goal of a Gauriya Vaishnava. And then these are the servants who are not in any of the Varnas. And we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calling whom? Haridas Thakur, who is Muslim, not even a Hindu. What to speak of the Varna, not even in the same. But Mahaprabhu gave him all love because seeing his heart for the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, differed when he said that the best process is hearing and chanting about Lord Vishnu. According to the Tattvavadis, the highest goal is returning home. It's a very beautiful point, important point, very crucial point. According to the Tattvavadis, the highest goal is returning home back to Godhead. But in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion, whenever this opinion thing comes, I think of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada in his lecture, he will say, this is your opinion, that is your opinion. Who are you to give opinion? Who cares about your opinion? But here we care about Mahaprabhu's opinion because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only one opinion we care, of course the Acharyas too, because that is based on the scripture which is given by the Lord. So basically it's the same opinion. Prabhupada won't have, Prabhupada says, Prabhupada says, Krishna says surrender to me, means to Krishna. I say surrender to Krishna. There is no difference. So you see there is no difference of opinion when Prabhupada says something, when Krishna says something, when Mahaprabhu says something, right? So according to Mahaprabhu's opinion, the highest goal is attaining love of Godhead in either the material world or the spiritual world. Now this is a very important point. You see, it is not saying going back to Godhead only. And as I was reading this, I was thinking, sometimes the mentality could be, what's the time? Sometimes the mentality could be, oh, I'm doing it here now for the sake of it. But when I go back to Godhead, I will do this service like this, I will do that service like that. But I feel we will not go back to Godhead unless I do the service here the way I'm supposed to do there. If I think I'm like, talking for myself, misbehaving here, I'll behave very well when I'm in the spiritual world. There is no spiritual world for me. If I'm not able to do it here, I won't be able to. Imagine you are a doctor and you are performing, surgeries, practice surgeries, and you are failing again and again and again. Why will the doctor, the seniors will give you the actual surgery? They'll say, Baba, you are failing here. How will you pass there? How can we, let you risk that? So we will be here forever. Unless we fix ourselves here, we won't make it there. If I'm dressing Radharani, I'm thinking, let me cut corners here. When I actually dress Radharani there in the spiritual life, then I will do it nicely. Now let me cut corners. I will forever be cutting corners and I will forever be dressing in this. If Krishna's mercy is there, in this material world, we'll never make it there. So Prabhupada is saying, whether you're here or we are there, our consciousness should be the same. Of course, as sadhakas, and you were there in the class when Hari Parshad Prabhu was speaking about Harinam. And he was saying the acharyas were, like the Goswamis were always conscious of their actual position. You remember that? Abhay? That you are always like, physically of course they acted, they translated, they worshipped, they did everything. But internally, they were aware of their position. We hear that our different Goswamis are different, Manjaris, even in Parampara, our Guru Vargas were different, constitutional position, and they were aware of it. So when they're serving with that mood even externally. So our mood is more internal to external, and what is being spoken by Madhvacharya followers, it is more external to internal. Because to do the internal, you have to have the external. That is, you have to be either of the ashramas and either of the varnas. But their mood is more external to internal, and ours is more internal to external, So like that. So, and then if you see for our Goswamis, this is Srinivas Acharya and Ramchandra Kaviraj. When Srinivas Acharya was one day in meditation, Guru disciple, Srinivas Acharya was Guru, he was meditating. And in his meditation, externally his family was seeing he's not there. It's been 2-3 days, few days. This story is mentioned in Vaishnava Saints. And this is 3 Vaishnava Saints, I think the book's name is. And he was not there, so his family was panic, his wife and his children, they were all so worried, like what will happen to him, and did he live his life and life air, things like that. And then they called his disciple, who was Ramchandra Kaviraj. He came, he also sat in a samadhi, and he was also gone. Now they are thinking, we had one person, we were not sure whether he is alive or not. Now they have 2 people whom they were not sure whether they were alive or not. So what happened actually, Radharani is in the spiritual world, Radharani's nose pin was lost under, and they were having water sports. And they were looking for it, everybody was looking for it. So was Srinivas Acharya. And when Ramchandra Kaviraj went there, he realized, and his guru told, you also look for it. And he actually found it. And he did not give directly to Lalita Sakhi, he gave it to his guru gave it to his guru. Eventually it came to Radharani was pleased, gave different blessing. And Radharani, in one story I have heard, Radharani had given her betel nut and pan, the betel leaf and pan to, the nut to, ultimately who found it, and they both tied it in their dhoti, right? And they were still in samadhi, and eventually the disciples told the guru, let's go back, your family is worried. You see, they're in spiritual world, they're aware of the material world, and then they're like, they came back. If they're not aware, they would have stayed there completely, isn't it? They would have never come back. So they know they have to come back. So for them, it is like one bedroom to another bedroom. Like for them, they don't have to change anything. They can go in that world, in that body, and come back. We hear the story from Prahlad Maharaj, or Dhruva Maharaj, whose story, whose Yamraj's head, Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, when, he didn't change his body. So, anyway. So, there's just, one to another. So, when he came back, and they were so pregnant. They were so pregnant that everybody is asking, what is that smell? And then they realized their dhoti had the Radharani's pan, and if you read about Srinivas Acharya's story, life stories, you will see that he would often do that. He will, like once they were playing the color game, the Holi, and they were throwing color, and when he was back in the external body, he had colors on his body. Once he brought the garland of the spiritual world, like that. We know Srila Prabhupada had a garland of the spiritual world. His first disciple explains it. I forgot his name. What, you remember? What is his name? Acharya. What his name? But anyway, his first disciple in India. The first Indian disciple before he started the movement also. So we see that, there is no difference for a pure devotee between the spiritual world and the material world. And that is what Prabhupada is writing here, that the highest goal is attaining love of Godhead in either the material world or the spiritual world. In the material world, this is practiced according to Shastric injunction, which is Vaidhi Bhakti. And in the spiritual world, the real achievement is already there, which is Raganuga Bhakti. That's why I connected. But Raganuga is spontaneous. You are automatically into it. But in a material world, when we are starting it, we do it as per whatever the Shastra is saying, and we do it as per the instruction of our Guru. Even if we don't feel like going to Mangalarti, we feel, oh no, I better go. at least for me, I'm talking, it is not a natural love. Oh, I want to see Krishna early in the morning. The first person whom I want to see, people I want to see are Radha and Krishna. That's Raganuga Bhakti. But Vaidhi Bhakti is at least Srila Prabhupada, wants us to be in the Mangalarti and all those things. Prabhupada told us to be in the Mangalarti, and it is an instruction from our Guru Maharajas and Srila Prabhupada, our Param Guru, and we do it. So that is Vaidhi Bhakti, following instruction of the Shastra, following instruction of the, completely based on Shastra. And that is called Vaidhi Bhakti. But when you do it spontaneously, that is called Raganuga Bhakti. So that is what Prabhupada is saying, that it is still there. One we do by instruction, one we do by out of spontaneous love. So I'll pause here. And now what Mahaprabhu is going to do, he heard only 3 verses or 4 verses from those Madhvacharya followers. But now he's going on talking about Gaudiya philosophy. And it is like, so we continue from 259 to 260. Next verse starts from, and he will give different Sanskrit, Bengali verses from Bhagavad Gita, etc. to fix, to tell how important it is, this philosophy that love of Godhead is the ultimate. He will talk about also the 4 Purushartha, the, what is it? Artha, what is it? Pancham is love of Godhead. The dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma we do, that is religious activities, like we go to temple, we offer coconut, and etc. Whatever religious things we do. It's very prominent in Indian culture. We do many religious things. Why? Prabhupada says to get artha. And with that artha, what do you do? With that money, what do? You do sense gratification. So dharma, artha, done. Kama is the sense gratification. And after kama, you get frustrated, you realize this happiness doesn't stay. It starts nice, ends bad, or even if it starts, ends nice, you still have to, give it up. So you get frustration, and that frustration brings liberation or moksha. So these are 4 Purushartha, right? But the Pancham Purushartha is the love of God. And that's what being explained. It's very beautifully explained in the teachings of Lord Caitanya. So in that it is nicely explained, very elaborately explained. So if you are interested in that Pancha Purushartha, you can read from there. But we pause here today. If there is anything you would like to add, please go ahead. So we ended at 258. Yes, Mataji. We need a mic. It's already 8:35 if you want to go for breakfast. Today is Ekadashi. 9th chapter, Madhya 9 to 59 onwards is yours. I can repeat in that case, yes, Mother. I'm waiting when will Nananvita will ask Nananvita's question. But anyway, till then, Mataji can. Yeah. For us, like how Bhagavad Gita, Arjun knew everything. The question is, Mahaprabhu knew everything, and still he is asking this acharyas, what is the ultimate goal of life? That's what, right? Yeah. So like how Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, Arjuna knew everything. And Krishna says, you are a devotee and you are a friend. And that's why I'm telling you. You are a bhakta, you are a sakha. And that's why I'm telling you. So Krishna bewilders his devotees to, speak the philosophy. So similarly, Krishna, he acted. That's why the word I was stressing again and again. Jano dino means as if he didn't know, as if he didn't have any knowledge. So he asked and he didn't like the answer. So he quickly cut them off and started the real answer. So he didn't want us to hear all that they had to say. Does it answer your question? Do? What did she say? Yes or no? I cannot see you in the dark. Huh? Mic paini kuji. They did not find the mic. It wasn't there. You go and read this verse, it's called, you were saying something more, Prabhu, or did I cut you off? We can't take the Lord cheap. Prabhupada will keep saying that. Do you think Krishna is cheap? So if you tune in with us, if you go to read, I mean, this does not have purport. This is Adi 1.4, which says Anarpita Chiram Chirat, why Mahaprabhu came. They had some understanding. So as Prabhu was saying that South Indian people, Prabhupada also mentioned they were pious people. Most of them are Vishnu worshippers. But the ultimate goal of life is the love of Godhead. So, Mataji, you had something to say? Kunti Mataji? Thank you. That's all. Yes, Prabhu. Mm. I, I mean, we minimize even Swarg also. I heard one Prabhu, if you see Swarg, very difficult, very chances are very high you will be stuck there. You were saying, I don't care about Swarga because you don't know what Sarga looks. So that's okay. I mean, Prabhupada will forgive our childish understanding, I would say. But yeah, Vaikuntha is like, if you see when, which, this exchange between Mahaprabhu and whom, when Mahaprabhu was asking, Ramananda Rai, what is the highest, which is the highest dham? He says Mathura. He doesn't say Vrindavan. So I asked somebody, and then they said Mathura is the province, right? That's where Vrindavan is. They mean Vrindavan, but because it is the state, that's how it is. So when the Prabhupada is saying Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha is the entire thing. Golok is also Vaikuntha, but the topmost Vaikuntha is Golok, is what my understanding. So when Srila Prabhupada says Jayananda Prabhu went to Vaikuntha, where did you hear it? I feel I also heard it, but I keep hearing here, there. No, I was saying that I have heard in a class is what one Prabhu was saying. But this Jayananda Prabhu's, where did you hear Prabhu? But I have heard that too. Maybe there, yeah. Yeah, I will. Oh, I only forwarded it. In the group. Yes, I forwarded. This is Rameshwar Prabhu's, very strong. He said that Jayananda went to, because I remember hearing it from Prabhupada memories, where Jayananda Prabhu's parents, he had cancer, right? When Prabhu was given Lakshmi by his parents to treat, he gave all the money to Srila Prabhupada, saying, like I'm paraphrasing it, it is so emotional. He says, one life of Jayananda doesn't matter, but these books are so important. He gave it to Prabhupada to print books. So of course Prabhupada will, I mean, I don't know exactly which book, but whatever Prabhupada was. This morning I was, going through purport of Srila Prabhupada, and in that, this is 7th canto, Prabhupada is writing, this cutting tree is so offensive, we should not, it's a sinful thing, not offensive, very sinful, cutting trees. But then he said, one might also ask that why are we cutting trees and publishing these books? He said, this is, anything that you do is for the yagya of Vishnu. This is the success of that service. So when we cut the trees and make paper and print ISKCON books, That is the success of the service, because we are offering it back to Krishna, because Krishna says, yagya. So that's what Prabhupada was saying. So that's what Jayananda Prabhu was giving he was ready to sacrifice his life, which he could have prolonged a little bit by the treatment, but he rather chose Prabhupada's books over his life. So that's why Rameshwar Prabhu, I mean that I'm giving the history that I have got from Prabhupada memories, but I'm giving you the history what Rameshwar Prabhu was saying, that Jayananda went to Vaikuntha, and Prabhu is also saying that it was so strong that you can feel it, that Prabhupada, like he was very sure there's, like to Guru Kripa Prabhu, it is there, recently they were all giving, sharing their Prabhupada memories this is on Brindavan channel, where Guru Kripa Prabhu, somebody else, I think Gunarnava Prabhu was saying that Prabhupada said for Guru Kripa Prabhu, as you are building this temple for Krishna Balaram is building a house for you in Brindavan, in Goloka Brindavan. So, I mean, it is there, you can go in here. So Prabhupada was always blessing, not seeing our faults, but always seeing what we are doing for Krishna. So I'll pause there. Thank you so much for tolerating me, bearing me, being with me. Thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhumevacha paditanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Thank you for being here. Hare Krishna. Okay, Nananvita's verse. I should find it. It's okay, Prabhu. I'll keep it. Sorry? You want the third line? Yes, sir. Shruyatam nityam Giyatam mura Chintatam bhaktas Caitanya Charitamrtam. O devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted and meditated upon with great happiness. So for one more week, you're going to chant, hear and meditate on the characteristics of Mahaprabhu. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.